Homelessness is not a new issue, but it is one that often doesn't receive a lot of attention. The number of Americans living without homes, in shelters, or on the streets continues to rise at an alarming rate. Judy Woodruff has this report on why that is and what more can be done to prevent it.
Homelessness often gets extra attention during the holiday season, of course, but the problem has grown year-round, particularly in many cities. Estimates show that as many as 500,000 people are homeless in the U.S. on any given night. Nan Roman is the CEO of the National Alliance to End Homelessness, and she joins me now. Nan Roman, thank you for joining us. And full disclosure, I serve on the board of the Alliance. But first, let me ask you, how serious is the homelessness problem in this country compared to a few years ago?
Well, the problem of homelessness has been getting worse in this country compared to a few years ago. From 2007 to 2016, it had been going down pretty steadily every year. But starting in 2016, it's been creeping up every year, including this year, as far as we know.
And do you understand why that is?
I think it's largely due to the lack of affordable housing and housing getting more expensive, and also what people earn purchasing less housing.
And is that due to federal policy, state policy? What would you ascribe it to?
It's due to the market to some degree. I mean, we really don't have an adequate supply of housing in the US anymore. We're about 5 million units short of having an adequate supply of housing overall. And in the affordable housing category, it's even worse. We're about 7 million units short of enough affordable housing for all of the low-income households that need it. And that really is the driver around homelessness.
And do you have a sense, we were just talking about this, of how COVID has affected people's ability to be in a home?
You know, it's sort of a mixed bag. I think on the one hand, a lot of the benefits that have been coming to people in terms of the child tax credit, the income tax credits, the boost in unemployment insurance and so forth have given people resources, and the eviction moratorium, I should also mention, have given people resources or protected them so that they didn't become homeless. Our data isn't so good because some of the counts for the past 2 years have been stopped because of COVID. But we also see in some populations that it looks like there's an increase. There appears to be an increase in unsheltered homelessness, for example, whereas family homelessness is down, we think.
And I saw that, I believe you were saying that more than a third of those who are homeless are completely unsheltered. They don't have any place, or don't go anywhere, don't have a place to go.
That's right. So the homelessness system is basically just not large enough for the problem to help people who are homeless. And 39% of people who are homeless don't even have a shelter bed. So they're living on the streets and encampments, vehicles, places not meant for human habitation.
Nan Roman, you were also telling me that there was a good amount of money that was allocated to address housing the homeless in the legislation that was passed because of COVID, the American Rescue Plan, the CARES Act, and you were saying not all that money has been spent. Why not? Can you give us a sense of what's happening there?
I think there are a couple reasons. There was about $14 billion between the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan Act, specifically targeted to people who are homeless. Some of the issues around it being slow have to do with just the ability of the sector to absorb it, staffs being low, the hiring, the same sorts of things you hear about businesses. That's also happening in government and nonprofit sectors. And so many resources flowing into communities have made it a little bit difficult for them to get the money out.
Is that an argument that more federal money right now, that many of these communities are just not equipped to handle it?
I think the communities are equipped to handle it, but not probably quite as fast as we might hope they could handle it. Still, these resources are so critical. And as I said, they really are. This is a once in a lifetime injection of funds into solving this problem. We estimate that the resources in Build Back Better, should that prevail, could house 80,000 households. So that's quite a big dent.
I want to come back finally to why so many people are homeless in this country? I know I hear many people saying, well, they think they'll say it's because of mental illness or they think it's because of substance abuse, but as you suggested earlier, it is more complicated than that.
It really is about affordable housing and wages. I will age myself, but I'll say when I first started working in the late 70s, there really was on housing issues. There was not homelessness. Very, very few people were homeless. And what's changed since then is that then there was an adequate supply of affordable housing, and now we're 7 million units short. And that's the driver. If housing is affordable, people will be housed. They won't be living on the street. It's really housing's not affordable, that they're homeless.
And so at this holiday season, what would you want Americans to know about homelessness in this country?
Well, I'd want them not to blame homeless people for their homelessness, to understand that the solution is really not that complicated, and to have compassion for people. It seems to me that in a country as wealthy as ours and as wonderful as ours, we really should not have hundreds of thousands of people living on the street.
Nan Roman, who is the CEO of the National Alliance to End Homelessness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judy.